Hi everyone, you see now Nasos Kamianos, who is a regression therapist and hypnotherapist from Athens, Greece. Welcome Nasos, and great to see you with the backdrop of wonderful Brasov and the city hall and the neighborhood.
It is a pleasure to be here in this beautiful city and talking to you.
So Nasos, I would like to ask you about I love history, and when you talk about Greece, everywhere there is history.
Yes, absolutely.
So, can you share something about the Greek gods of healing and the process that used to happen in the temples and some history?
Yes, of course. Nobody really considers seriously the fact that psychotherapy actually originated back in ancient Greece 3,000 years ago.
Wow.
Because they are not aware of a very specific process that was taking place at the time in ancient Greece, which was called Enkoimisis. Let me translate this into English. It means sleeping therapy. Okay, Enkoimisis was the main healing practice that was prevailing for 1,000 years at least. We could say clearly from the 700 before Christ till the Christians came in the 3rd century after AD. And we had in the area of the Mediterranean basin 320 sanctuaries of Asclepios. Asclepios was supposedly, according to the myth, the son of Apollo, of course, and because he was enlightened, he was privileged with the ability to heal. But we will not, we will not get stuck to the religious issue. We should not focus on this so much as we should focus on how they induced a healing procedure that nobody is aware right now in the Western world. And just a few words about it. There was no fast-track therapy. Mind and body were not separate things. They were dual, but they had to be dealt both at the same time. So you could not separate the mind from the body. That was out of the question. So what they did is that if there was something happening to their health, they would walk a long distance, or even sometimes use a mule or a horse to go to these sanctuaries, and they would stay outside in the beautiful premises and running water,
Nature.
beautiful nature, flowers, and then they would engage in techniques like hydrotherapy, massage. They will be engaged in theatrical plays as well as gymnastics in the stadiums that were next to the premises of the Asclepiums until they were ready to come and face the priest-doctor, physician. Priest and physician at the time was one thing. And the white robe that these people were wearing is the reason now all the doctors in all the hospitals in the world wear the white robe, because of the Asclepiums. And they were supposed to fast and to abstain from toxic behavior before they arrived there. The very last day, they were to drink only water, nothing else. So they would cleanse their body, Then they would have to go into warm waters, wash themselves, cleanse themselves totally, and from there on, they had to enter into the avaton. Avaton in English is the impassable, the place where you cannot go to. Okay? So as they were trying to do this, to go to the impassable, they were taken from their own clothes. They were wearing a white robe as well, and they would cross a long corridor which was under the ground, and as they were walking in total darkness, they were stepping on snakes. And you know, the fear of the snake is something that we all have inherent in us. So, but there was a reason for this. The reason was that they wanted to get rid of the corpus, you know, they wanted to get rid of the new brain. They wanted to reduce all the abilities to the reptilian brain, to go back to the basics, safe mode. So immediately they went in trance. If you step on a snake, you go crazy. So then they walked in a building which was called the tholos, which means rings of stones, and they would turn around and around and around as if it was a vortex. And in this vortex, they would start having convulsions and trance. And then they would wrap them up with a big sheet of paper, of cloth, and they would immobilize them. And then, as they were immobile, they would turn them on the cleaners. The cleaners were the beds of the time. And that's where the word clinic comes from.
So the trance was induced through these methods.
Yes. And they would lay them down there in the total darkness in the avaton, and then they were expecting a dream to come, a dream from the god, an onar in Greek, a dream from the gods, which would specify what is the remedy for this specific person, and not for the other one. Let's suppose both people had headaches or migraines. The solution for me would be a totally different one through the dream of Asclepios, and the solution of the other, of yours, would be totally different.
So the word we use, client-centric therapy.
It was client-centered therapy, very correct, and it was focused and customized. Don't take la dose, everyone, and Zoloft, and just let's see what's the problem is.
I've also heard that they use the sound vibrations in those days.
Yes, we know that they had that. We certainly have evidence of this in the Eleusinian mysteries. They had the so-called Ichion, but they were using, we know they were using music because, Apollo, the god of music, the god of light, the god of inspiration. Of course they were using music, all kinds of music. We have evidence on this, and we know that music heals the soul, of course. But during the time of the Avaton, it was total darkness and nobody was speaking, unless they had the epiphany, that feeling of Eureka. I found what I finally discovered.
And it sounds and feels like what you do today, in some way or the other. Can you connect that?
Yeah, because you see, actually, unfortunately, we do a fast track of this. I wish we all, modern therapists, were using this long process, because then we would prepare the soul to have all the time to react. But now we don't have that time. We don't have the privilege. And we cannot buy, time is money. So people cannot afford to do such a process, a long term. So, but again, we do the job. I don't think we do it exactly the same as the ancient Greeks did, but I think because everything evolves, we are quite effective.
So we are back again with Nasos, and we want to talk about some of the common threads that run between the ancient Greek ideas and what he does today. And I want to just start with a question or a comment that there was clear understanding that mind and body are same.
Yes.
And somewhere in between...
Not the same, two parts, but connected, interconnected.
Connected. The mind and body are connected. And somewhere in the 17th century, that Descartes' idea that mind is separate from the body changed everything.
Yes.
And then back to what you do today, can you share some ideas?
Yes. Regarding therapy or regarding philosophy?
So your the work you do today, how would you connect to the ideas that you described
Okay.
of ancient Greece?
Of the ancient therapeutic techniques then?
Yes.
Okay. Well, exactly because this dualism was abandoned by especially the era of so-called enlightenment.
Yes.
Which went to the other end. You know, they tried to fight superstition and religious and religion, organized religion and churches, but they reached to the other end, discarding anything which is spiritual. So spirituality has nothing to do in the modern world of enlightenment, okay, which is unfortunate because we have constantly now new discoveries suggesting very strongly that first of all consciousness survives after death, and there is a continuation, and very possible or not, it's almost proven that we have reincarnation. So both the Indians and the ancient Greeks were supporting this idea 3,000 years ago. If you read all Pythagoras,
Yes.
Empedocles was his tutor, Pherekides was his tutor, Empedocles was his contemporary, Socrates, Plato, and all the Neoplatonists accepted the concept of reincarnation, but they could only prove it philosophically, with questioning. Now we have evidence because of Ian Stevenson and all of the people who have
Documented
worked.
case
Yes,
studies on several
hundreds, thousands of cases. So now it's up to the skeptics and up to the other guys to prove the opposite way around. So to me, being a regression therapy gives me life because it gives life to the idea that we all reincarnate and we all should surpass the fear of death. There is no fear. Why should you fear death?
And when that fear is gone, a lot of other things are possible, which otherwise
Exactly.
are
Because otherwise you're stuck, you're anxious. I only have one life to live. Well, you have a life to live as you are right now, and I have a life like this. But I will have thousands of options again and again and again. And either I will be improving or I will be going downwards. That's my
up to
choice.
choice, up to us.
Yes, up to us.
And then the final question.
Yes,
Among the techniques you use today,
yes.
which one is your favorite and why?
My favorite, my friend Gunjan, is my favorite technique is to induce altered state of consciousness. I don't go through talk therapy. I don't like this approach, you know, talking with the mind, because the mind is confusing. It has certain prototypes inside, and it works in a very
Within the
specific.
constraints.
Yes. While when you induce an altered state of consciousness, like hypnosis, but you can do it with other means as well, then the mind goes to another mode. That's why I was telling a while ago about the snakes and how the Greeks were producing the trance by closing off, you know.
Critical filter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you do that, you go to the root of the problem and you ask your client, where is the root of the problem? And they go there, as if they cannot avoid it, you know, as if they are in a thing like this, you know. How do we call this? Slide.
Slide.
Okay, there is no way to avoid it. The slide, they cannot avoid it.
So you bypass the critical judgment, conscious mind, and suddenly...
And you go to the root. And then, all of a sudden, when the client realizes what the problem is, the self-healing capacities wake up. He has auto self-healing capacities. Every one of us, everyone that walks on this planet has this. So what we do with this process is we mobilize these self-healing capacities and we let them heal themselves, not cure themselves. You know, when you go to a hospital, they cure you. But curing is not healing. Ancient Greeks knew how to heal. Indians know how to heal for 2000 years. They didn't have a break. You know, they didn't have a medieval time.
Correct.
They didn't have the dark times. So they know healing very well, much well than the Westerners. So Westerners were good in curing all these years, and still are. But we are trying to revive the traditional model, the more humane model of antiquity.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nasos, and all the best. And sometime I see you on the Greek TV, different channels. So it's always good to see you in person again after 5 years, and hope to meet you
Again, soon.
in India.
In India or Turkey.
Turkey or India, and
Yeah.
all the best, and thanks for the wonderful insights, because like I said, the whole experience of being in Athens is like ethereal. You don't know,
Oh yeah.
in a different world, and you can sense only and feel, but it is very, very happy to connect with people from ancient cultures and
Oh, yeah.
exchange some ideas.
Oh yeah. And if you ever come again, visit again, I'll take you to temples that no one knows that they exist, and you will feel the energy there.